Hey, I'm TJ from LOB, and in this video we're checking out the new 2018 Domane SLR 8. Now this bike has been pretty highly reviewed, and I personally like the bike so much that I went out and bought one. This frame isn't exactly new. It was redesigned in 2016, where a front head tube decoupler was added to pair with the rear decoupler to round out the bike's ability to absorb bumps. Now I had to look this up because I couldn't believe that this frame was already 3 years old, and yet it still holds its own in reviews as being one of the best endurance, comfort, and even race bikes. The SLR 8 ain't cheap though. 8,000 US, 10,950 Canadian, and 5,500 euros. Talking about geometry, when comparing the Domane to a bike like the Emonda, the Domane is less aggressive, as the Domane is built more for stability and comfort, with a longer wheelbase, lower BB, and taller head tube. The chainstays are a little bit longer compared to an Emonda, at 420mm. The head tube is also slacker, at 71.9 degrees. Ultimately, this confidence-inspiring geometry results in a shorter reach and a taller stack height. The Domane is geared fairly low, with 11 to 32th rear cassette, and a 50/34 compact front crank. Now let's talk about what makes the Domane the bike that it is, and that has everything to do with the frame. And more specifically, the front and rear decoupler, with the front only recently being implemented. These decouplers act to isolate the seat tube from the top tube and the steer tube from the head tube, which allows them to flex independently, absorbing impact which otherwise may jar the body. Now carbon fiber does a really good job at absorbing vibration, however big bumps need to be absorbed by the flex in the frame or by springs. The difference between the two is that frame flex has less of a bobbing property that you would typically feel in a spring system. Now of course the SLR 8 gets an OCLV 600 frame versus the SL's OCLV 500 frame. Trek claims that this is lighter, has better vertical compliance, aka bump compliance, and is stiffer at the same time. In the frame you also get integration for the sensors, a control-free cable management system which hides those cables nicely in the frame, which is also optimized for electronic components such as Di2. And lastly, the frame comes with what seems to be standard now, and that's through axles front and rear, with through axles contributing to a stiffer and more direct feeling frame when cornering, accelerating, etc. For being 3 years old, this bike still holds its own for innovation and frame design. However, I personally don't like the rear sliding adjustment for the rear decoupler. I feel like it's a little bit gimmicky. When I ride this bike, I can guarantee you that I am not going to adjust it. Why would I want to stiffen up the seat mast? It has no effect on pedaling efficiency, it has no effect on the bottom bracket stiffness. I think in the end it's an unnecessary feature that probably raises the price of this bike, considering the carbon molds that they needed to make this were probably pretty expensive. And in the past I've ridden Pro Calibers and Boons and the first generation Domane, and I never needed that seat post to be any stiffer on any of those bikes. Moving on, the SLR 8 comes with a Shimano 2x11 drivetrain. I opted to go with the DURA-ACE mechanical group set over the electronic Di2 Ultegra Gruppo because, well, the Domane SLR 7 wasn't available in Canada, unfortunately. And honestly, once you've ridden Di2 electronic group set, it's really tough to go back to mechanical, as nice as DURA-ACE is. And that being said, DURA-ACE, or DURA-ACE, as my Italian friends like to call it, is one of the smoothest, most plush, yet accurate and crisp shifting systems around. I'm just kidding, Italians don't call it DURA-ACE, they probably don't even ride DURA-ACE. The Shimano DURA-ACE system is a cold forged aluminum gruppo that is bonded with bits of carbon fiber to make the drivetrain super stiff, light, and very smooth. Once again, that carbon fiber plays more of a dampening component. And oh man, does it feel like butter. Now, I can't say enough good things about these wheels. At 35mm deep, these wheels are good at both cutting the wind and climbing without being biased to either one. This wheelset is disc brake compatible, has a Bontrager hub, which I'd like to see DT Swiss internals, but you can't be picky for the price. It should also be mentioned that this is a tubeless ready wheelset. However, my experience running tubeless on a road bike has not been pleasant. Considering the high pressure, low volume tires you're running, the sealant usually just sprays out, although there is new sealant that is being designed specifically for this. Anyway, it's nice to have the TLR option. And lastly, the SLR 8 gets the Bontrager Pro IsoCore road bar. I personally love this bar, and I think it's a must for any bike considering its vibration dampening capabilities. Now, I should mention that I did swap the bar tape out for Lizardskin DSP 3.2mm thick tape, because there is no better premium tape out there. The cockpit gets a Pro Blender stem, which is compatible with various different computer mounts and makes for a nice seamless application. And of course, the Bontrager Affinity Elite saddle. Overall, a pretty comfy saddle. Well, to wrap it up, I couldn't really find too many things wrong with this bike. I mean, that's probably why I went and bought one. When it comes down to it, it's a performance bike that is also comfortable. This bike is built for grand fondos, long haul rides, and is plenty capable to race on. I mean, if Fabian can win stage races on it, I'm sure it will be good enough for you and I. This bike is a bit of a do-everything bike, and I even bought it to ride gravel. I know some of you are saying it's not a gravel bike, but where I live, a 35mm tire is perfect. Well, that's about it for this video, guys. I would love to hear what you think about this bike, where you guys would ride this bike. Is it good enough for gravel, grand fondos, road racing? Anyway, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out my social media. I'm on Facebook and Instagram, where I like to show a sneak peek of future videos. Ciao.